Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. The NFL season is always full of surprises, and this year the Cleveland Browns are no exception. As we hit the middle of the 2025 season, the Browns find themselves in a very peculiar and, frankly, concerning situation at quarterback. Imagine this. After just 4 games, the team has already made the bold decision to bench Joe Flacco, a veteran with a wealth of experience, and now they're rolling with their third-round pick, Dillon Gabriel. That's right, Gabriel, the young gunslinger out of Oklahoma, is now under center as the Browns prepare for their next challenge, which, as many of you know, involves a trip across the pond to London for Week 5. This move, while perhaps surprising to some, reflects a broader sense of urgency within the organization. The Browns have been looking for stability at quarterback, a position that has historically been a bit of a roller coaster for them, especially in recent years. But what's really catching people's attention now is the idea that the team might be looking to make some bold moves on the trade market, particularly when it comes to veteran quarterbacks who could potentially come in and stabilize things temporarily or even long-term. And folks, there's one name that keeps popping up in conversations and rumors: Russell Wilson, the quarterback who was recently demoted by the New York Giants but still might be available before the NFL trade deadline. Yes, you heard that right. Russell Wilson, a name that has been associated with success, leadership, and a Super Bowl ring, could suddenly be on the move again. So why is Wilson suddenly back in the conversation? Well, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Wilson is one of the few veteran quarterbacks who might be traded before the deadline. Despite his recent struggles with the Giants, Fowler pointed out that Wilson's $2 million base salary makes him a very tradable asset, and there's a sense that the Browns could see him as a potential solution, at least for the short term. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Wilson's time with the Giants hasn't exactly been smooth sailing. He's looked almost unplayable in 2 of his 3 games, and his stat line isn't exactly inspiring, except, of course, that stunning 450-yard performance in overtime against the Cowboys, where he looked reminiscent of his Seattle Seahawks days. That game, for many fans, was a reminder of the talent that Wilson still possesses, even if it's been buried under some struggles in New York. But the question is, would Wilson be a good fit for Cleveland? Well, in a vacuum, you could argue he'd be the best quarterback on the roster right now. His experience, leadership, and talent could give the Browns a boost, especially in a division that's as competitive as the AFC North. However, the reality is much more complicated. Wilson's biggest problem, even during his prime years, was his tendency to take too many sacks. And here's the thing, imagine him behind the Browns' offensive line. It's not exactly an ideal match. Cleveland's offensive line has had its issues, and Wilson's mobility, which was once his trademark, has declined with age and injuries. That would open him up to more hits and sacks, something that could seriously hamper his effectiveness. And let's be honest, facing a team like the Minnesota Vikings in Week 5, who have a ferocious pass rush, could turn into a nightmare for an aging Wilson. So if the Browns were to pull the trigger on a trade for Wilson, what would be the point? This team isn't exactly in a playoff push right now. It's clear they're in a bit of a rebuild, especially at quarterback, with Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders getting valuable reps to see if they're long-term solutions. Wilson, despite his talent, might only serve to complicate that development. Why give up draft picks in a year when you're still figuring out your future? Bringing in a veteran like Wilson could be a distraction or a hindrance to the growth of your young quarterbacks. It's a classic dilemma. Do you go for a short-term fix or stick with the long-term plan? And that's precisely why many analysts believe the Browns are better off riding it out with Gabriel and Sanders. These young players need game experience to grow and develop, and throwing Wilson into the mix might just muddy the waters. Plus, Wilson's age and recent form make him a less than ideal fit for a team that is clearly looking to build around its youth. The Browns have shown a commitment to developing their younger talent, and that's a smart move in the long run. Looking at the bigger picture, Cleveland's season has been a roller coaster. The defense has been solid at times, especially with some young playmakers stepping up, but the offense has struggled for consistency. The offensive line, which was supposed to be a strength, has had its moments of vulnerability, and that made the quarterback situation even more precarious. The team's coaching staff has been trying different combinations, and Gabriel has shown flashes of potential, but he's still very much a rookie in terms of NFL experience. The same goes for Shedeur Sanders, who's been given opportunities to prove himself but needs more time to adapt to the speed of the league. What's interesting about this season is that it's a clear transitional phase for the Browns. They're not necessarily in win-now mode, but they're also not just giving up. It's a balancing act, trying to develop young talent while also potentially making a splash move that could change the trajectory of the franchise. The trade deadline is approaching, and everyone's eyes are on what the Browns might do. Will they gamble on a veteran like Wilson, risking the future for a fleeting boost? Or will they stick with their young quarterbacks and hope they develop faster than expected? Now, I want to talk a little about the division itself because the AFC North is no joke. The Baltimore Ravens are still a powerhouse with Lamar Jackson, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are hanging around with their tough defense and solid offense. The Cincinnati Bengals, despite some ups and downs, have a talented roster led by Joe Burrow. So every game, every decision, every move counts even more for Cleveland if they want to stay competitive. A veteran presence, even one with Wilson's recent struggles, could potentially help stabilize the offense, but at what cost? That's the question every Browns fan is asking right now. And let's not forget the history of the Browns with quarterbacks. They've had their fair share of struggles, injuries, and false starts. This franchise has been searching for stability at the position for decades. The recent draft picks, Gabriel and Sanders, show that the team is committed to finding their future long-term solution. But that doesn't mean they won't consider a stopgap, especially if they believe it could help them get a few wins and build confidence. The trade market is always unpredictable, and Wilson's name is certainly one that will be discussed in the coming weeks. Yet, in the end, it all comes down to what the Browns' front office believes is best for the team's future. Do they gamble on a veteran who might bring some short-term relief, or continue to develop their young guns and build for the long haul? It's a tough call, and honestly, each option has its pros and cons. But what's clear is that the Browns are in a pivotal moment. They have a lot of young talent, a defense that's been doing its part, and a coaching staff trying to piece everything together. The quarterback position remains the biggest question mark, and that's what makes all these rumors and discussions so fascinating. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Browns. Do you think a trade for Russell Wilson would be a good move or just another chapter of trying to patch things up temporarily? Are you confident in Gabriel or Sanders, or do you think the team needs that veteran presence to push forward? Whatever you believe, I'm eager to hear your thoughts. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news, because this season is far from over, and there's still plenty of drama to come. Thanks for sticking with me, and let's keep supporting our Browns no matter what. We're in this together, and the best is yet to come.